Welcome to That's Life. I'm your host, Leah Leach. Thank you so much for tuning into our show. And welcome to April, my favorite month because it's Autism Awareness Month. On this show today, we're going to be talking to two special guests of mine. We're going to be talking to John Jr., affectionately known as LJ, and we're going to be talking to his mom, Condilea Henry, about autism and the face of autism. So a lot of you all don't really know what the definition of autism is. So I'm going to read you the official definition of autism by the mayoclinic.org. Autism spectrum disorder is a condition related to brain development that impacts how a person perceives, socializes with others, causing problems in social interaction and communication. The stats on autism, I got this information also from mayoclinic.org as well as WebMD. And the stats are as follows. 50% of parents notice issues with their child when it pertains to autism by the age of 12 months old. 80 to 90% of parents notice full issues by the time their child is 2. 40% of children with autism never speak. 25 to 30% of children develop some language skills during infancy, but lose them later. Some start talking later in life. Now, there are 5 different spectrums of autism. The first is Asperger's syndrome. The second is PDD-NOS, which stands for pervasive developmental disorder, not otherwise specified. And we're going to talk about some of those later on. Autistic disorder, childhood disintegrative syndrome, and Rett syndrome. This information comes from Very Wealth Health. There's different types of autism and when it relates to it. So we have severe, mild, and high functioning autism. Now, today we're going to be talking to my special guest, LJ, and I'm very excited about having LJ on the show because he's a young man who is super smart and super bright, and he has so much to offer the world. And I just want you to be able to see that LJ is an amazing person, and he has so many things to offer to the world. So when we come back, we're going to talk personally with LJ, and then we're going to also talk to his mom later on in the show. We'll be right back.
Every day we're on the move, going. Not a day goes by where I'm just going along and I'm not thinking of something that I could put together with a video or something I could put together on print for a picture. You ever just dream big, dream real big? I mean, I wonder what that would look like. I think the best part about being behind the camera and figuring it all out is getting the pieces and collecting all of the pieces that make the puzzle a complete picture. How do you make it all come together? Situations and scenarios and different things on the screen. What is it that you want to do? When it's time to actually be creative, collaboration is key. You can count on me to help turn that vision into reality.
Welcome to That's Life. I'm your host, Leah Leach. Make sure that you please follow, like, and subscribe to all of our channels. We have our YouTube channel at That's Life by Leah Leach, our Facebook channel at That's Life 03/20/2020, and our IG page at That's Life 0320. When we left on our last break, we were getting ready to discuss autism in the face of autism. And for our first guest, we're going to be introducing John Jr., affectionately known as LJ. LJ, welcome to the show. I'm so excited to have you on our show today.
Thank you, Auntie Leah.
Thank you so much for being here. And Condilea, thank you so much for being on our show as well.
You're welcome.
All right, John. So tell us a little bit about yourself, John. How old are you? And tell us your full name.
I'm 26 years old. I'm John Allen Staten Jr.
Very good. And John, tell me something. What makes you happy? When you think about yourself, what makes you very happy?
Being around family and being around girlfriend.
You have a girlfriend. We got to talk about that later, John. So, John, tell me something. Why do you think that you're different? And if you think that you're different, why do you think you're different? So let's start with the first part. Do you think you're different?
Yes.
And what makes you different, John?
Well, I see a lot of other young adults who are normal, like Casey, Marissa, Darius, and Quan, and a few other young people. I want to be just like them, go places with them, go everywhere, go to movies with them and everything.
Okay.
I feel like I those things because of the diagnosis.
Well, you can do those things, but we'll talk about that later on too. But you can do all of those things. It's just going to be a little bit different, you know? But you can do all those things. You could be all those things that you said about the people around you, because normal is just a word. But we're going to come back to that a little bit later on. We'll deal with that too. Okay? Tell me something you love about yourself, John.
Well, I love people. I love my mom. I love Guilford, Jamaica, brother Darius, my girlfriend, my grandparents, grandma Connie and granddaddy Charles, and my aunts, Auntie Mari, Auntie Diane, Auntie Dosha, Auntie Sean, and Auntie Nita and the rest, Auntie Leah, Auntie Lil, and most of all, Uncle Tony and my cousins.
Well, we
And
love you, John.
love you too.
Well, we love you, John, and we love you just how you are, because in our mind, you're perfect just the way you are. As I said before, normal is just a word, okay? To me, you're John, you're LJ, you're the sunshine, you have an infectious smile, like everybody who sees your smile immediately smiles. You're talented, you dance, you love music. And so don't get caught in the word normal, okay? But you are made special because God made you special. So when we come back, we're gonna talk a little bit with Condilea and about autism. Come on right back.
Somehow, the sight of my own reflection increased my loneliness.
Welcome back to That's Life. I'm your host, Leah Leach. Today we're going to be talking about autism and the face of autism. We just got through speaking with LJ, and now we're going to be talking with his mom, Condilea. So Condilea, welcome to the show again. So happy to have you.
Thank you for having me today. Hello.
We're going to be asking questions just about John and everything that you've gone through in terms of pregnancy, in terms of everything with John. So we're going to start from the top. Did you have a normal pregnancy with John when you were pregnant?
No. I did not have a normal pregnancy with John. I developed what they call toxemia. And I was very, very sick carrying John. And they discovered that I had toxins in my system. The protein that he needed was coming out of my body instead of into his. And so I had to be hospitalized in the 8th month of pregnancy. And I had to have an emergency C-section. His due date was December the 8th, and they took him November the 8th, a whole month earlier. I had 3 amniocentesis. Once they saw that his lungs were somewhat strong enough, then they went ahead on and scheduled the C-section for, it was on a Monday, I'll never forget. And they took him from me and put him immediately in the NICU unit.
When did you notice for yourself that John was a little bit different? When did you start noticing signs?
Well, first, ironically, the doctor himself said something because John was connected to like a lot of wires, and he had this box over his head, and he threw it across the room just as he was born. And the doctor was like, "What manner of child is this?" He's like, he has supernatural strength. And once I was able to take him home, it was, I think, a week later. We had to stay in about a week, him per se, and me, because I had some health issues due to the pregnancy. Once I took him home, just something in me knew. He wasn't eating, like swallowing his food, everything he was regurgitating. He would scream, like just at the simplest touch. But I noticed if I wrapped him in the blanket very tight or held him tight, he would calm down. Everything, like with a baby, you normally touch them softly or stuff. It's like it was as if it was like needles or something to him. He would, like, it was a piercing scream. And so he used to kind of lock his eyes in the corner and stare. And I was very concerned about him. And I just was like, something is not right. I'm a first-time mother. I just felt like something was just off.
Because it's important to let the viewers know you do have another child. You have a younger child. And so obviously there was a difference between what it was when you had John versus when you had your second child.
Right, it was. You want me to say the differences?
Yes, absolutely, you can.
Well, with my daughter, who's almost 4 years younger than John, I was sick again. My body developed the toxemia. At this time, it was worse than when I was pregnant with John. Now, prior to having her, I had a miscarriage in between the two of them. And John is actually my second child. My first child, I was 6.5 months pregnant and lost that son due to the same issues. And so with Jamiracle, they monitored me every week until they saw it pop up in my system. So she wound up being born at 7 months by emergency C-section and was born 1 pound, 3 ounces.
Wow.
I stayed in the NICU unit until she was 4 pounds, 5 ounces. And then they allowed her to come home. And I was unsure if she had some of the same developmental delays as John did, because now he's almost 4. But as a matter of fact, she was quite the opposite of him. She was, she really thrived, and she was on the, like more on the faster end. I didn't have to do anything really for her. She potty trained herself. She talked at 9 months. She walked by the time she was 1, and she just always been, on top of things. Where John, on the other hand, everything was a process of time.
Right.
He didn't sit up. He didn't roll over. It's just he didn't walk. He didn't talk. He did crawl backwards on his knees, and he would he would go over to the table when he heard music playing. He crawl backwards and hold on to the table leg, and then he'll be standing up and shaking and dancing to the music. So he's always loved music.
Excellent.
Yeah, that was my John.
So what were you, and I know you kind of talked about it a little bit, but what were the biggest challenges that you had with John, future and, well, not future, present as well as past, and what were some of the hurdles that you felt like you had to kind of go through?
Past hurdles, one was people didn't understand autism. And so they used to think, oh, he's just bad, or oh, she doesn't know how to train her child. Or I used to get followed in the grocery store because I'll never forget, we went in Walmart and the music was playing, the lights were on, people was there, and he started screaming. Like, it was just overwhelming for him. And I literally was standing there crying because I just didn't know what to do, and I had to get groceries. And a lady followed me. She was a social worker, and she thought I was harming him. And I was very angry, and I confronted her. And I actually, while I'm leaving the groceries in the store and walking out with my child on my hip, we went to restaurants, and he would, what I call, flip out. Like, literally, we would have to leave because of the noise and the people and everything. He would just start screaming, and at that time he would bang his head or inflict himself, like punching himself in the head, and or get up and just start spinning real fast or something like that when he started walking, because he didn't walk till he was 2, and or 2.5 actually. So there were a lot of challenging things. At one point, we thought he was deaf. But what I come to discover was that he couldn't focus on many things at one time. If he's focused on one thing, then everything else is tuned out. And so one time we were at church, and he darted off from me. And he had a fascination with license plates. Like, he just had to rub a license plate. So we used to have one at my mother-in-law's house, my house, at his school, and he ran behind his car at church, and he was just rubbing the license plate. Well, he was small, so that they didn't see him, and they began to back up.
Oh my goodness.
And the only thing I could do was scream, like, to the top of my lungs. I just screamed because I couldn't get to him. And it caught the attention, and somebody snatched him, like, right in the nick of time. And when my grandparents were alive, in the back of their house in Thomasville, Georgia, they had this tree that literally went like 50 feet in the air. And my cousin came running the house screaming, come outside. And we went running. John was all the way to the top of the tree, saying, we. And we're like, come down. And I was literally in tears, but he didn't see the danger of him. Right. And so, he touched a hot heater, and he did not feel it. Like, he literally got burned, but did not feel it. He was very desensitized to pain. The more intense it was, the better it was for him. Wow. And so he, ate with his fingers. The touch of silverware just set him off. He didn't like the feel of the toilet, so he wore pull-ups till he was 5. And I was, cleaning him like a baby, but he was 5. Right. He didn't like people touching him. at the time, but he embraced me because of how I kept, hugging him and things of that nature. So that was just some of the things.
All right. Excellent. When we come back from break, we're going to talk a little bit more with Condilea, and we're going to talk about just some ways that you can be sensitive to those that have autism. We'll be right back.
When I first saw you, that's when I really know I wanted to get close to you. Everything that you say comes all the things that you do. I wouldn't mind playing the fool for you. That's how you got me. That's how you got me. I wouldn't mind playing the fool for you. That's how you got me. Yeah. That's how you got me. That's how you got me. I wouldn't mind playing the fool for you.
Welcome back to That's Life. I'm your host, Leah Leach. We're talking about autism in the face of autism because we're in Autism Awareness Month. Again, I represent my blue for Autism Awareness Month. So if you see the color blue for this month, you know that's the reason. We're here talking with Condilea and LJ about autism, and we were just wrapping up with Condilea about some of the challenges and hurdles that she had with LJ. So now we're going to move on to something a little bit more, I think, positive, not necessarily positive, but something that I think will show everybody what you believe and what your thoughts are when it comes to LJ. So what are your dreams for LJ and what you see for his future?
Oh my goodness. I have great dreams, big dreams for him. John wants to go to college. He wants to be married. He wants a family of his own. And I know that he's able of obtaining those things. He tends to want it like right now because he see other young people his age thriving, driving, going to work, going to college. And he feels like somehow the autism is delaying him from doing those things. And so I just encourage him to say, I always say a delay is never a denial.
That's right.
And I said, you're going to do these things. You may do it in a different way, or maybe just a little bit slower obtaining it, but you will have it because it's something in your heart to do. I said, and so what I'm doing now that he's become an adult, I'm helping him along with others to put things in place. And we're prioritizing what's the main thing first that you want to do. And so he wants to go to school, or get a job, one or the other first. It flip-flops sometimes. So unfortunately, due to the COVID issue, we had to delay the job thing, but we were preparing to go fill out an application for him to get a job at Publix, where shopping is a pleasure, especially with John, especially with John. And then he has a girlfriend, and he wants to be a father, and he'll make a great father because he's a great nurturer. And so he wants to go to college. He loves music and he loves drawing. And I want to pull out of him everything that's in him, so he can feel a part of. He constantly says he wants to be normal, but I told him that I don't like that word normal. I just want you to be the best you.
Right.
That God created you to be. Absolutely. And I'm okay with that.
Absolutely. My next question to you, what makes you the most proud of John?
Well, his kind heart, his beautiful spirit. It's like he sees the good in everything and everyone. And he loves to open doors. He treat me like a lady. And he does it for his sister and any other young lady. He opened doors. He'll give you his coat. He'll pay for your meal. He's always wondering, are you okay? He'll text me 100 times a day, or call me. I just want to know that you're okay. I just want to make sure you're fine. And that is such a great quality that he has. And I'm so grateful because so many people don't, care or have that quality, but he has such a caring heart and it's genuine. And so I'm so proud of him.
Well, now we're going to talk about 5 ways to be sensitive with autism. And I think that it's very important that we are knowledgeable about how to treat those that have autism and just in general, but this is definitely Autism Awareness Month, so we wanted to put some tips and pointers out there to help you to be understanding to those with autism. Number 1, be patient. Number 2, communicate clearly, making sure that you drive your point home clearly so that they understand. Number 3, making plans. Number 4, respect sensory differences. Number 5, don't treat someone that's autistic like a project, and stand up for your autistic friend. We are so happy that you were able to join us for our show today. Thank you so much, LJ. Thank you so much, Condilea, for bringing awareness to autism and showing that autism is not a disorder, that it doesn't make the person, but the person just happens to have autism. So thank you both for joining the show. When we tune in next time to That's Life by Leah Leach. See you then. Bye.